A very impressive performance tonight. Just talk to me. Obviously, we heard your father passed away. You know, 1 week, 2 weeks into your fight camp. Just describe the emotions after tonight's performance and victory.
You know, I gotta say, I think this is really one that hasn't set in. Just like him passing away, I had the athlete retreat. I had fight camp, so I went to Vegas, came home. I was with my family for about four or 5 days, and then I was at Rufus Sport right away for 7 weeks, living in the gym, doing training. So I don't think I've really, we talked, before. I don't really think I had a chance for anything to set in, and I feel really calm and collected. I feel like I'm finally showing what I've been capable of doing my whole UFC career. I had to do some changes. I had to find some new coaches and find my home and find my balance in what makes me tick as a fighter. And I really think I found that. And I think I'm finally showing that with 2 first-round knockouts and, coming into somebody's backyard and putting that crowd to silence. It was one of the strangest things I've ever felt. But I can't wait to go home for a little bit. After, Tuesday I got to go film the Contender Series, and then I get to spend time with my family and my mom. And I think I'll really just kind of take a week to just, miss my dad a little bit.
Paul.
Yeah.
Obviously, you beat one of Scotland's own fighters tonight, but Scottish fans seem to have taken to you really well. Just what kind of reception have you had in Scotland this week?
It's been amazing. Me and my brother and my corner, we were talking about it all week. And even when I called back home, I was like, it's actually, they're really, everybody. I had to try to put up a hoodie at one point because I wanted to get a little bite to eat before we came to the arena. And I had to go back to the hotel in the back to eat because the fans were so awesome. They all wanted pictures, and they would all start it with, don't get me wrong, I'm supporting Stevie Ray tonight, but we also love you. It sucks that you have to come and fight one of our own. But they were great, and I knew it would be loud, the loudest I've ever put Brazil to shame, to be honest with you. And I fought Trinaldo in Brasilia, and this was louder. So I have nothing but respect and love for the Scottish fans and every fan over here. These guys are starting to really love MMA, and I'd love to come back and fight maybe in Ireland if they do an Ireland card as well.
Paul, it was obviously a big victory for you tonight. Where do you think that puts you in the lightweight division now?
I was just talking backstage. I didn't even think about rankings. Coming into this fight, I think this was kind of a battle between 2 guys that could get maybe the right outside of the top 15 or maybe get that top 15 spot. And I'd love to either get my name up there with a little number next to it and start fighting some of these top guys. With 2 first-round KOs by elbow, I think I have earned a glance at that maybe they could give me a ranking or give me a guy that would get me in the rankings. So that's what we were just talking about backstage about what might be next. So hopefully a big fight next.
What did you say to Stevie after the fight? You had a few words with him.
Yeah, I just said, I have nothing but respect, and I knew damn well that could have been me laid out on the canvas too, with the way we fight and the way things can go in this sport. And I told him, I've always been a fan of his, and I'll continue to root for him in his other fights against whoever he's fighting. That's the first time, I don't want to say I feel bad because we're competitors, we're athletes, but it was the first time where I was kind of like, man, I know I can only imagine if we were in Philadelphia and I had everybody I knew there, it sucked, you know what I mean? He wanted to put on a show, and but I came laser focused for this one, man. We were ready, and I told him I'd also like to, hang out and buy him a beer, but if not, we were both crushing some cake in the back, so that might suffice for tonight.
You're just saying that you're going to make it back to Vegas for the Contender Series on Tuesday night. What do the next few weeks look like for you, and when would you like to get back in there?
So fly out to Vegas tomorrow, rehearse, do that stuff, meet up with my co-anchor, and shoot on Tuesday, and then go home on a red eye that night, back to my family, spend a week there, next week back out to Vegas to do the 4th episode of the Contender Series. But I guess this summer will be dedicated to that. It's 8 weeks of Dana White's Contender Series, and then I saw that. I mean, I'm fresh. I'm ready to go. So realistically, in the next few months, let August go by completely, and then October, November, definitely a 3rd fight before the year is out. 100% a 3rd fight.
We've just been told you won a performance of the night bonus as well.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
I did. I just found out backstage. So that's my second in a row, guys, with 2 knockouts in a row by elbow knockout. So me and Duke got something working up our sleeve here. The lightweight division better look out for them bows.
It's a lot of money. What are you going to be doing with it, do you know?
I'm probably going to, we were just talking to Christine back home, probably going to buy Aisling some dance or voice lessons. The girl's walking around with a microphone and a guitar watching my fight the whole time saying Daddy Pow Pow. So she's whatever the money is going to go towards her and whatever she needs. And taxes. Paying them taxes. Not like our boy Floyd.
Paul, one of the storylines coming into this fight regarding Stevie Ray was the fact that he put it out there, he rolled the dice, he was gonna, he is gonna now test free agency. Can you kind of give some insight in terms of, would you do the same thing? We're seeing a lot of fighters, go that route now here.
Yeah, and you see, sometimes it pays off. Joe Duffy just got a 7-fight deal, right? So I mean, you gotta play it by what your last fights are. I mean, if I'm coming off maybe 3 knockouts like this or something like that, it's worth thinking about. But I like to think I have a pretty tight relationship with the UFC. I've made it clear that I don't want to go anywhere else. I don't want to fight for anybody else. This is the organization I've always wanted to be a part of. This is who I want to fight for. I want to become a commentator. I want to do, behind the scenes work with these guys. I want this to become something that I just roll over into when I'm done my career. So hopefully we could just go, fight to fight and figure things out. But yeah, there's no desire for me to seek out Bellator or any of these other major competitors. I want to stay here and keep getting paid and keep getting bonuses. I mean, if I keep fighting the way I'm fighting, I'll be getting some extra checks every fight. That would be nice.
And speaking about the commentary gig,
yeah,
have you had a chance to speak to Dan Hardy? Obviously, he's a Fight 10 commentator.
Yeah. I mean, I've talked to him when we were in Belfast. I've talked to Dan, hung out with him a little bit, and but at that time, I didn't know I was going to have any of these kind of opportunities. I'd love to sit down with him and pick his brain a little bit because I like Dan's work too. I think he's really good at his job, and I want to try to bring that same kind of feel to the table with the amount of experience that I have, and him having even more experience than I did in the cage fighting for title fights and things like that. So, and for those that asked, and I see some people wondering how in the world did that even come about, me getting the Contender Series thing. I don't know if anybody remember. I went to school at University of the Arts in Philadelphia for theater. I went to school for acting. I've been in the Walnut Street Theater productions. I've been auditioned for plays off Broadway and commercials in New York. That's what I did before I became a professional fighter. So being in front of the camera and speaking in front of people is kind of first and foremost what I did. I just now do it violently in front of a lot of people. So that's kind of how that got. I made that clear that I wanted to do that kind of work, and then I had an audition out in L.A. and I got the job.
Hi, Paul.
Hey.
Something you alluded to earlier, and you've mentioned it a few times in the week, was that if this was a Vegas card, it would fly under the radar a little bit. Do you feel that that's something that you want to do going forward? Obviously, you've done Brazil, Canada, and now Scotland. Is that just something you enjoy doing, being the go-to guy for these international events? You see yourself headlining one, or is it good for you to come to a place like this? Doesn't get many events.
Yeah, that crowd was. I know they were for Stevie, but it was. I looked back in my corner when we first got out there, and I was like, that is the loudest I've ever seen heard anything in my life. And I asked, we both, everybody saw the Twitter stuff that he was like, let's do it. I had asked for the fight after he fought Lozon. My manager asked for that fight. I don't know if he heard about that, and then he kind of probably got wind of it and was like, yeah, let's do it. That's kind of how it started. So it wasn't just like, oh, he called me out or I called him out. It was kind of like, all right, that seems like a good fight, and I'll fight him in Scotland if it means I'll get the fight. But yeah, going to these cities that don't get these events are way more fun, man. Like you said, Vegas, that would have been like, oh, that'll be a good fight. And people wouldn't have really been as hyped about it. I thought it was going to be co-main. We were pushing to be main event for that one, and I would love a main event spot. I want to go 5 rounds with somebody. I want that that headline spot. And I know I'm still working my way up. I know I'm not. I feel like the diehard fans kind of know who I am, love my style, but we still got to get some mainstream love from people.
Cool.
Thanks, guys.